Hey friends, what's up? Kaz here. Welcome back to another server admin tutorial or bucket spigot plugin tutorial. If you're joining for the first time, feel free to hit that subscribe because I do these every week. If you have a suggestion on one you'd like me to do, feel free to comment and gibbles below. That would be the comment section for you new people. And if you find this video helpful, please leave a like because that helps me out for helping you guys out. Now, this plugin has been around for a very long time and it has been on my list because I've done a similar plugin like it called Command Signs that was not as easy as this plugin. This plugin is fantastic. It's called Server Signs. It allows you to put signs in your server that when the people right click on them, it'll run a whole list of commands. It's got its own check system, if and loops. Like, you can do a lot with this plugin. So I'm just going to go over some basics, hopefully get you started, explain how things work so that you can use your imagination and really expand on what this plugin can do. So this was requested by Ruben Silverstein. I think that's Silverstein. I don't remember. Like Totally Ethan, Ryan Long, Robing Kipling, and Beast Plays. And it is made by Caliber R50 and X Loki. Now, the dependency of this is Vault or suggested dependency. I think that is required because, I mean, really, you're going to be using Vault anyway for just about anything that you have. You're probably going to have that. Before we get into the permissions, going to talk about a couple things. First of all, if you are up and you are having problems with the sign, then you have to set your spawn permissions or your spawn protection in server.properties to 0 because this does interfere with this plugin. And if your regular users are having problems, it's because you have not set up your permissions, and we're going to talk about that in a second. If you do need help or have a suggestion, go to the link in the gibbles for the ticket system and submit it. Be sure to be as descriptive as possible, and if you are having a problem, use the latest development build first before you ask for help because it might have been fixed in that build. Like I say, descriptive if possible, so exact version numbers, screenshots, anything you can do to help them understand what is going wrong so they can help you get to the solution. So permissions, you want to give your users serversign.use.star. That will give people access to all signs, or you can just do serversigns.use, and then that will make them check to see if they have a specific permission node for that sign. So they'll be able to use every sign except the ones that you've specified specific permission nodes. If you have specified specific permission nodes, which we will talk about in a second, it's going to do server signs.use whatever that perm node is that you set. Now you can do so for example, if you have a promote, you can do server signs.use.promote, and then when you set your sign up, it'll make more sense when we get into it. Now admin, you have server signs.admin, and then you have server signs.update notification, then you have server signs.command.star, which I think all ops have that already, but you can go ahead and check out the permission nodes to help you out with that a little bit more. So this is crazy. Let's get into actually how to use it. Yeah. All right. So you do SVS, and it's going to give you the list of all the commands that you can do in this plugin. The main one that we look at is add. So SVS add type parameters command. Let me talk about that for a second. There'll be some screenshots on the screen for that. So your type is going to be all the different things that you can do. So broadcast, message, set price, I think. I don't know exactly off the top of my head, and then you got your parameters, which is modifications of that, and then your actions of what you can do. So it'll make a little bit of sense when we get into it. So we're going to do SVS create, and then we can right click the block to create a new server sign. Sometimes the sign just works. Sometimes you have to do the create. That's what I've seen so far. And in the configuration, you can actually specify that any block can be a server sign. By default, only signs can be. So be sure, if you want to set that up to be a lapis block or whatever, you can do that by going into config. You can either just enable it for every block, or you can set specific blocks to have that. So now that we've set that to be a sign, we don't want to do SVS. We're going to get started easy. It's just going to run the command. Now, I think this actually runs as the user, so we've put that in. We're going to right click on it. So now when we do that, it's going to take us to the spawn. Now we can actually set a global cooldown for this, which is really cool. So if we want to do SVS set global cooldown, and now I think it's in seconds, so we're going to do 10 seconds, and then right there. And now if we try to run that one again, it's going to tell us when we can run that. So that's actually on for everybody on that sign, which is really cool. So maybe you want to set it up so certain people can get those. This is where that permission node is going to come into effect, and there's actually going to be a cooldown. So we're going to do SVS create. Once again, we're going to create that one. Like I said, it might not be necessary, so we're going to do SVS server. So this means it's going to run as the console rather than the player. Like I said, this is that type thing, or the parameters, and then we're going to do echo give and then player. So you got a variable of player, like you could see on that screenshot, and also link in the wiki to all the commands. It's very useful to poke around in there and take a look at what there is, because you can do group in here. I think you can do UUID. There's a lot of different variables that you can pass in here. So since we're using essentials, it's going to be eco give and then $50. So we could do that. Now we haven't done anything, so people can just click on it and get money all day long. So now we can actually do set SVS set cooldown 3600. So that is going to set it to every hour. So now we can't hit that again for an hour. Now if we do SVS set permission, and then we want to do donor. So now we've added that permission node. I think that is still going to work for me because, well, we got the cooldown, but now people with that server signs.use.donor will be able, only they will be able to use this this sign, which is really cool. So the next thing is maybe we want to do, actually, let's go back. This is kind of a cool one. You can actually add a confirmation. So they have to do a second command in order to run whatever it is on the server. So if they're buying something or whatever, maybe it's like are you sure you want to do this? And then it'll go on to run the command. So if we want to do SVS confirmation, and then, okay, so we want to do true, and then there we go. So now we want to do SVS yes, or you can click again. I think if you just right click and then click again, oh, we got to wait. All right, so then less than a second, and then we can click again and it'll go again. So that's pretty cool for that. You can actually do like SVS space holding and then the item, so it's requiring them to have an item in their hand before the sign will work. Maybe you want to have them spend XP and then they get money. You can do all that in here by doing SVS XP 1. So it is in levels. Oh, sorry, SVS create. And there we go. And then XP. So it costs 1 XP, and then you get SVS add server eco give player 100. So now when we right click on it, it will give us $100 for each XP. So we can do that. Put it in survival mode. 1, and then we get $100. You see that went down to 233 there. Then you can actually take this and set the uses of it. So now it's per sign, not per user, but you can do SVS set uses 5. So it can only be used 5 times. If we added it to that sign, we can right click, and then all right. So now it's not letting us right click on the sign anymore, which I kind of wish it would give you a notice, but they can probably set that up to do that. You can also have it check to make sure that they have a special permission node. So we do SVS create. So we're going to create a sign here. We can do SVS add. So you probably don't need to do the create if you have it set to every sign can be a sign block, or every block can be a sign. And then we could do if has perm, and then we can do make friends donors. So then we want to right click, add that one to it, and we do SVS add message. Now this is going to send that message just to that player. If you change that to broadcast, it'll be set to everybody, which is kind of cool. Only let's see, thank you for your support. And then we right click on that sign, add it to it, and we do SVS add. And then you want to end your if statement, so end if. Add that, and then we want to do, if we don't enter that if statement, we want to do add message Keep on playing. Okay. So now that we've added all those commands there, we can right click on it. So since we are a donor or an op, it does work for us still. I think we have all the permission nodes. Now, if we come in here, we've de-opted ourselves. So now we can right click on it. Now we see only that message. So if we re-op ourselves, now we actually see both the messages because we have that permission node. It runs both of them, which is really kind of cool. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully that gets you started. Let's take a quick look at the configuration because there's some pretty cool stuff you can do in the configuration, and then we'll wrap it all up. Okay, as always, we're here in our server. And we want to jump into our plugins folder. You're going to run your server signs in here. You can see I got a whole lot of other plugins in here because this is my tutorial video every week. And then we want to jump into server signs. We want to open up the configuration. Now all your other signs are actually going to show up in here, which is really cool. It's going to have other information that you can actually modify in here, although probably not recommend it. We're going to go into the configuration. Now, great commenting by the author in here, really explains what's going on, but here's where you set any block from the signs. So any block can be server signs, which is kind of cool. The command block, I think, did that. Or you can specify the blocks in here, so only those blocks can be server signs. And then you can change your English, your translation in here. You can go into your translations en.yml file. So if you want to customize any of the color codes or what it says, you can do that in there, which is really neat. You could change your message prefix. I love it when the authors do that, even though I have a tough time saying prefix all of a sudden. Now, if you don't have Vault, you can actually specify the command that it runs when you do a permission add or permission remove. In this example, it's using PEX, so maybe if you're using Group Manager, you can set that in there. If you are using Vault, it will do it automatically. It should work fine, but if you're having trouble with it, come in here and change that command that it runs when you specify that. So everything else pretty straightforward. You can turn off the broadcast in case any developers join, but that's kind of cool that it does that. Deposit bank name, you can change the name of that. Blocked commands, you can set other commands that will never show up on server signs, all that stuff. So like I said, the configuration file is pretty straightforward, but there are some pretty cool things in here. You can change your currency string, so if you're using any kind of other currency, if you have a special name for the currency on your server, that in there. So let's jump back in the server and wrap it all up. Okay, so here we are back on the server. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I know it's really quick and I just wanted to get some basics to you to get started. This plugin is super powerful, but it's really cool. Go ahead, start playing with it. Your imagination is the limit of it. And if you run into problems, be sure to ask for help on the Bucket page. Link is in the gibbles or the description. And if you found this helpful, please leave a like and share it around. So that's all I got this week. This is Kaz reminding you guys all, enjoy the game. God bless. Okay, let's see if we get it up on. Oh, whoops. Oh, this is embarrassing. That dude went flying. Okay, well.